Strictly throwback music from 9 p.m. through till 12 midnight. Yeah, man. Big shouts going out to you, Nanefua of CSIR. Nanefua of CSIR. I feel your kids wanted to call into the show and partake in the Nectar Fridays, but unfortunately they couldn't get through. You know what? Next week Friday, series Nectar Fridays is back. 3:30 p.m. sharp. Just like today.
Come on. Let's go.
Traffic Avenue, the show for me and you. Mondays to Fridays, ooh, the Traffic Avenue. Traffic Avenue, the show for me and you. Fridays, ooh, the Traffic Avenue.
Flex. Buckle up and join the best. Let Citi relieve your stress. So yes, let the music soothe your soul and keep it going just to refresh. Buckle and enjoy the ride from 2 to the half of the 5. Mondays to Fridays happening live. Where we gon' have a ball, you can text your guys. Let me tell you what you really gotta do. You can count on us, we come through. We got everything you need, that's true. Are you ready for the Traffic Avenue? Let me tell you what you really gotta do. You can count on us, we come through. We got everything you need, that's true. An applause for the Traffic Avenue.
Traffic Avenue, the show for me and you. Mondays to Fridays, ooh, the Traffic Avenue. Traffic Avenue, the show for me and you.
City 97.3.
Accra. Go for gold and bet risk-free on the new season with Betway. Use the golden booking code found on the Betway site to bet on selected match week and get 100% back as a free bet on any losses. You always get more with Betway. Regulated by the Gaming Commission of Ghana. No under 18. Terms and conditions apply. Betway. Get way more.
Detailed news, unparalleled coverage. City News on 97.3 FM.
Eyewitness News. Be there as it happens.
City News.
It's 5:30 p.m. This is Eyewitness News live from our studios here at number 11, Dr. Morton Loop in Adabraka, Accra. My name is Nanatufo Boateng and I am here with
Hawa Idrisu Mustafa.
Coming up over the next 90 minutes.
Now that we've seen the challenges, it probably is not too late to open the centers at the electoral areas because it will be easier for people to travel. I mean, for instance, Ayawasu West Wagon is here. The farthest polling station in Ayawasu West Wagon is at Sato.
Flag bearer of the National Democratic Congress NDC, John Dramani Mahama, charges Electoral Commission to urgently resolve challenges confronting the ongoing limited voters registration exercise to ensure a smooth process. Also coming up, 1 dead, 3 missing and 15 rescued following a boat disaster at Ada in the Greater Accra region. Still ahead, 2 suspects arrested in connection with killing of 35-year-old businesswoman at Apaso near Sukubai Ampame in the Ashanti region. Eyewitness News is live across the country on all our affiliates and around the globe on citynewsroom.com. Later in the bulletin and in business.
Local cement manufacturers back suspension of permits for the production and bagging of Portland cement. We'll tell you why.
Join us for the broadcast in the Western region on Premier 100.5 FM in Takrady and Beach 105.5 FM also in Takrady. Sky Power 93.5 FM is also in Takrady. We're live in the Blue region on Greener 95.9 FM in Sunyane. Welcome to Hammers Radio 106.5 FM in Goso in the Ahafu region. We're live in the Ashanti region on Orange 107.9 FM in Kumasi. Join us in the Volta region on Akpeni Radio 96.7 megahertz in Pando and Heritage 107.3 FM in Hohoi. You're listening to Dasuma 99.1 FM in Yendi in the Northern region. We're live on Word 88.3 FM in Zuarungu in the Upper East region. In the Upper West region, this is Westlink 88.1 FM in Laura. And in the Northeast region, this is Eagle 94.1 FM in Wali Wali. Now, the show is interactive, and so you can join us with your comments via WhatsApp line 0549 986 996. We'll begin the bulletin, and Hawa has our first story.
The flag bearer of the National Democratic Congress, NDC, John Dramani Mahama, says the Electoral Commission must take steps to address network challenges confronting the limited voter registration exercise to ensure a fast process. The former president also stressed the need for the EC to consider opening up the voter registration centers to deal with the congestion characterizing the exercise at its head office. He made these concerns known after a visit to the EC's headquarters to assess the limited voter registration process.
This is day 4 of the exercise. We've been receiving reports from the various constituencies, district offices, and today I decided to go around and see for myself. I understand that there are 5 constituencies being registered here. There are a few observations I've made. One, because it's being done in the district offices, there's a lot of congestion because people are coming from all over to one point to come and register. The second thing I've noticed and the complaint is that the network is not strong. And so they are not able to do the instant online registration. And so they are capturing some of the data offline. And the danger with that, sometimes there's a repeat of somebody's name, not through any fault of his. And so I think that the EC must speak with the telecom companies. I hear they're using only MTN. Normally, you would use multiple telcos so that if one is slow, it can jump to another. So they must see how to resolve that network bottleneck so that the process can go faster. The next and most important thing is that most of the people who have turned 18, these people are between 18 and 21. I've spoken to many of them, and they don't have the Ghana card. It means that if we had insisted on the Ghana card as the only means of registration, it means all these young people I've seen would not have been able to register because all of them are using the guarantor system. And I asked them, do you have Ghana card? It says, no, we don't have. So I think that Parliament was right to insist that the guarantor system must be used. And I believe that National Identification Authority should up its game so that a lot of more of our people can get access to their cards, so that in future, if we decide to go solely with the card, it won't disenfranchise any person. And I'll appeal once again to the Electoral Commission. Now that we've seen the challenges, it probably is not too late to open the centers at the electoral areas because it will be easier for people to travel. I mean, for instance, Ayawaso West Wagon is here. The farthest polling station in Ayawaso West Wagon is at Sator. And so there are people here from Sator who have had to travel all this way to come and register. They might not be able to register today. They might have to go back and come the following day. I mean, we know the conditions in Ghana today, the hardship. We know how transport fares have gone up. It's not easy on voters to be able to do that. Of course, political parties are trying to facilitate. You say we shouldn't bus them. And if somebody doesn't have money, he won't come and register because he doesn't have money for transport to come all the way. But if we were in his electoral area, it will be a shorter distance and he'll be able to go there and register. So I think we should still reconsider this issue about registering in the electoral areas. And but in the meantime, I think the EC should resolve the bottlenecks that we're seeing here. One, there's congestion. Two, the network is not going well. They registered, one of the constituencies, they registered 50 on the first day. Then I think the next day, 80. The highest they've registered in a day is 170. But if you look at these numbers, they'll keep coming every day. And so we need to speed up the process.
Respectfully, what's your personal thought on the back and forth between the 18-year-old who's taking the EC to office secured injunction, but the EC has gone ahead, secured court order, but they can't find officials to serve them? What's your thought on that?
Well, I'll refer you to a famous case. This was the Dufour case during our primaries. The EC said it had come to its attention that an injunction had been filed against our primaries. And so because of that, they will not be available. They were very proactive. I don't know why they are not proactive in this case. That's my answer.
We've realized that, as you mentioned, many of the registrants are students. They are in their school uniform. Some come, they are unable to register, and then they go back and return. What do you think this will be the implication on their education as they come in day out, queuing here?
Well, you'll be lucky if they come back. In some cases, they might not come back because they'll get frustrated with the process, and that will disenfranchise them. And that's why we're saying that it would have been easier if this exercise had been taken closer to where their polling stations are. And that would have been easier for them. But right now, they have to give up their studies. If they are persistent enough, they'll come for a day or 2 or 3 and manage to get registered. But then they would have missed several hours of their education. So, like I said, we'll still ask the EC, if they can, to open other electoral areas so that it can bring the process closer to the people. If you take my constituency, Bole Bamboy, the farthest polling station is Babato. Babato is 140 kilometers from the district capital. And you say he should come and register, he should come with 2 guarantors. So he has to pay transport money for himself and transport money for 2 guarantors. If he goes that day and is not able to register, he has nowhere to sleep in Bole. Will he go back and come again? These are the practical difficulties that the EC is glossing over.
They talk about financial constraints on the part of the EC. Finally, do you think that's enough justification for what's happening today?
Well, they should ask Parliament for the budget. We are insisting that do the electoral areas. You've not asked Parliament for the appropriation. Say the money is not enough, so Parliament should ask the finance minister to give you more money. You haven't asked, and you just say, no, we'll restrict it to the district centers. I don't think that's enough of an excuse.
That was the flag bearer of the National Democratic Congress, John Dramani Mahama. Meanwhile, the Member of Parliament for Korle Klottey, Dr. Zanato Ajuman-Rollins, says the limited voter registration exercise by the EC is straining members of Parliament financially.
Well, the limited registration is ongoing. We've had the first few days. It's the end of the week, and it's important to see how things are going because, the first few days can be a little bit tricky as people try and get into the routine. It's a bit chaotic because we have so many districts being held over here as opposed to being put in different areas. So it's a little bit hectic, and I think it's making the process a little bit cumbersome. Unfortunately, some of the machines keep going offline, which also makes the process, drag on a little bit. I think that at this point in time, given that it's a limited registration exercise, we want to make sure that we're bringing the ease of registration to the fore because there's a lot going on. Things are difficult, and if you're trying to convince people to do their citizenry duty, which is to get registered, you want to make sure that the process is easy and not so stressful and not for people to come and wait here all day. A lot of people who are here live from hand to mouth, and every moment they sit here is money potentially that they cannot make in a day. So we need to have the process a little bit more smooth flowing, and of course we need, I'm not quite sure what the EC is going to do about this situation, because you have too many districts in one location, which is making it very, very stressful for a lot of those who are here, and also the pressure is a little bit much on one central location.
We've heard some members of parliament complaining that this exercise is actually having a toll on them financially, because some of them have to finance transportation and all that. Is that the case with you?
I mean, it's the case across board, and that was one of the reasons why we were not in favor of the limited registration exercise being done in this form. And besides that, by virtue of, maybe not in this constituency exclusively, but in areas where the district capitals or the district offices are more than 20 kilometers away from some of those who need to register, that in itself is a disincentive for people to come and get registered, to be able to exercise their universal adult suffrage. And the Electoral Commission is supposed to make it easy for the people of Ghana to be able to register in order to be able to express themselves through the ballot paper.
You heard the Member of Parliament for Korle Klottey, Dr. Zenato Ajuman Rollins.
So those concerns have been expressed by flag bearer of the NDC and, of course, a member of parliament on the ticket of the NDC. Let's pitch camp with the NPP and find out what their own observation has been with respect to the ongoing limited voters registration exercise. We'll go over the phone lines and speak to Evans Nimakon. He is Director of Research and Elections for the New Patriotic Party. Good evening, sir.
Good evening, Nana. How are you doing?
Very well, thank you. I trust you're well, too.
That's great.
Right, so the NDC has had cause to complain even prior to the commencement of the limited voter registration exercise, to the extent of filing an injunction together with some other political parties at the court to have the exercise, or even to stop it from starting in the first place. From where you said it's been 4 days into the exercise, what has been your own observation? And is there any way, based on same observation, that the exercise can be improved?
Thank you, Nana, for having me. I would say that for us as New Patriotic Party, we've been monitoring the registration exercise, and we are also encouraging our members to ensure that all those who are supposed to have their names in the register are able to do so with less difficulty. We cannot appreciate that the registration arrangement put together by the EC put some burden on the political parties. We made our point clear to the EC at IPAC. You see, over the years, we've seen the EC conducting registration exercise. We are mostly left with issues concerning people who are not eligible trying to get their names onto the electoral roll. And so we made the point at the IPAC. The unfortunate thing was that our colleague the NDC wouldn't participate in IPAC discussion. And I think this is a big issue we need to help address.
Do you believe that these issues could have been addressed at the IPAC level if the NDC had participated?
I think so, because if you look at the CI 91, specifically Regulation 9, which talks about continuous registration that the EC should undertake, it also says that the EC must develop modalities through or in consultation with the political parties. And I think the combined effort of parties make a lot of inroads into decisions of the EC. And so the parties said the EC should submit a new CI that will allow for the identification of the individual by the national identification card. That one, the NDC have gone every length to ensure that it doesn't get to pass in Parliament. But strangely, they can then arrange with these mushroom parties, they so define them, which have been set up by the New Patriotic Party, to go to court against the NDC. That is the nature of the NDC. And so for us, we are monitoring this exercise in all the 268 registration centers. With the way that the EC will adopt the 2019 additional voting centers. But what are the challenges of the EC? We are not the spokesperson for the EC.
Right.
But made our point clear to the EC at IPAC. And so under the circumstance, we have to go through this in this manner to ensure that the EC will comply with the CI. My brother, we've looked at the CI, we've gone through the CI 91, CI 126, and we are monitoring the process. It's a 21-day project, and we are clearly following it. In fact, the party leadership has directed party rank and file to participate fully and ensure that all those who have to be in it, where facilitation will have to come from the party, we do so.
Evans, would it have served the interest of the party better had the EC opened up to more centers for registration rather than limiting it to the 268 district offices?
Well, I mean, when you sit back and you do the assessment, you may conclude that if the EC opens up more registration centers, it helps. There's also another twist to it. The more centers you have, the more cost you incur as a party, because you would have had to put together your agents to observe this process, and you have to monitor all through. Either way, you incur some amount of cost and some burden.
But opening it up, wouldn't that have limited or reduced the financial burden on the parties?
I mentioned to you that the New Patriotic Party put forward the argument that in 2019, additional registration centers were created by the EC for purposes of registration, aside the district offices. And so that was our position. That was our position. The unfortunate thing is that our colleagues NDC have elected themselves not to participate in IPAC discussions. The other political parties who do participate, they label them as mushroom parties created by the MPP. But today, they are able to join forces with the mushroom parties to sue the EC. Is that not preposterous?
Is the MPP busing prospective registrants to the district offices of the EC to register?
The NDC is busing people to registration centers. You can find your respondent or your correspondents or your friends or your colleagues in other districts to go through all the centers, and you see what the NDC has been doing. I've told you that the New Patriotic Party, we've been ready to facilitate the registration process for our members who are due. The law says once you are 18 years and above and you're of sound mind, and your name is not already in the register, the EC must take steps to ensure that you get your name registered.
You've thrown the accusation at the NDC, but I'm asking, is the NPP busing prospective registrants to the various registration centers?
I mentioned to you that we are facilitating our members who would have to have their names written by the EC, so they get onto the electoral roll.
But by facilitation, what exactly do you mean?
Whatever forms it takes, that we make sure that you get to the registration center, make sure that you go through the process and get your name into the electoral roll.
Does this include giving out monies?
Giving out money?
Yes.
I'm sorry, sir.
When you say whatever form it takes to facilitate, and I'm asking, does this include giving out money?
That particular issue you've mentioned, I'm sorry, the New Patriotic Party is not into that.
Right. I'm going to have to let you go now, but before you go, I mean, we have just about a month to the presidential primaries of the NPP. So far, so good. Balloting is done. Any word as we await the D-Day on November 4?
Well, I'll say so far, so good. It's as a result of deepened and extensive consultation among stakeholders. The Presidential Elections Committee, chaired by Professor Romai Kokwe, the presidential candidate themselves, the Electoral Commission, and Ghana Police Service. We will continue to engage. My brother, the main objective of every party member everywhere in Ghana, New Patriotic Party, is for us to elect our presidential candidate who the party will sponsor into elections 2024 with the full support of all members, win the election 2024 overwhelmingly. And so the party has broadened its consultation with all stakeholders to ensure that every process of the change towards the conduct of November 4 primaries is free, fair, and transparent. I think it's the posture, the attitude, and the demeanor of the elections committee that is what is giving us these effects.
Right.
We will continue to consult with our presidential candidate where the EC will have to come in. The committee is prepared. Enough assurance has been given to our presidential candidates. Their support base are party members, and this is an in-house internal process that is being undertaken. And I can assure you that the New Patriotic Party, come December 2024, will win the presidential election with our presidential candidate elected by the party. We won the NDC. We beat Mr. Mahama in 2016. We beat him in 2020. We are going to beat him once again in 2024.
All right, thank you very much. We wish you well. Evans Nemakon, Director of Research and Elections for the NPP. Let's go to the camp of the NDC because really they have had cause to complain about the form and structure of the ongoing limited voter registration exercise. George Opariado is the National Youth Organizer of the NDC. Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
I trust you're well.
We can't complain. God has been merciful.
Great. So the NPP is saying that the issue of additional registration centers, the NPP raised it at IPAC, and should the NDC have participated in IPAC, some of the issues which you're raising now could have been ironed out at that level. This concern raised by the NPP, or this allegation by the NPP, that will this meet your reasons for abstaining or staying out of the IPAC?
But we've been told by Jane Mensah, the Electoral Commissioner, that IPAC cannot advise her on things she needs to do. On many occasions, we've gone for IPAC meetings, we've made suggestions, and Jane Mensah have been bold enough to tell us that there remain suggestions. When we used to attend IPAC under Jane Mensah, anytime we had gone there, whatever we have said, the things she wanted to do were the things she carried on with. So we don't see the need, we don't see the reason why we still have to go and say that IPAC, when she has told us boldly that IPAC has no mandate and IPAC cannot force her to take decisions that she doesn't want to take. And so we still stick to our ground. If Jane Mensah wants us back at IPAC, then the reforms we have proposed should be adhered to, and then we can go and sit down at IPAC and speak to. I can understand Ivan Makwe and the things he's saying. Clearly, the NPP is just behaving like the ostrich. Ivan knows very well that 99% of the time, before IPAC meetings, the position of the NPP has always been the position of the Electoral Commissioner. And Ivan knows this for a fact. And so we going to IPAC is neither here nor there, because every suggestion we have put before IPAC under Jane Mensah has been pushed off and have not, or she has not adhered to any of it. So there is no point we going back to IPAC. And I don't know what our going to IPAC is going to do, because the person in question has told you that IPAC has no mandate. IPAC has no constitutional backing. IPAC cannot force her to do what she doesn't want to do. And when the person says this, why will waste your time? To the extent that even when my then General Secretary Nana Snapsema attended one IPAC meeting and was smiling, the Mensa had the nerve and impetus to ask him why you're smiling. The kind of disrespect and arrogance he exhibits at IPAC meetings, it is not worth going to sit before that lady.
From what you're saying, is it that you're staying out of the IPAC out of an emotional position?
No, the person has told you point blank that over the years, when Jane Mensa was with IEA, she was even advocating that IPAC should be given constitutional backing so that decisions of IPAC becomes binding on the Electoral Commission. Immediately, the person becomes Electoral Commissioner. She tells you in plain words that decisions of IPAC are not binding on her. Also, we have made a point time with our number that there are some political parties that have no offices, that have no locals to even come sit in IPAC meetings. When we go for IPAC, NDC, that has 137 members of parliament, have one vote. The NDP have one vote. And all the other political parties that do not have any representation in parliament are also given rights to vote. And most of these parties are offsprings or surrogates of the NPP. So they go and team up with the NPP. If I mention some of the parties, you even be laughing. Parties with no structures, no offices, nothing. And under our laws, under the Political Parties Act, all those parties should be closed down. But they are given representations and seats at IPAC. And then they all come and vote in decisions that we are trying to arrive at. So at the end of the day, we find ourselves in the minority. Two, the lady in question, the chairperson has told you that your decisions are not binding on me. So you can come and talk. IPAC more or less has become a talk shop. Why go waste your time in a talk shop when you will not get the results you are looking for? When the reforms you seek to achieve will not be attained. Previously, under previous electoral commissioners like Afranijan and Sabato say, every EI or CI that has been put before Parliament coming from the Electoral Commission was drafted by members of the political parties' legal committee, together with technical members from the EC. And that was how IPAC had impacted positively in our results. Almost all the decisions, all the reforms that we saw happened from 1992 to 2016 before Jane Mensa became Electoral Commission. We are as a result of decisions that IPAC arrived at. Ever since this woman became Electoral Commissioner, she's told us in plain words that our decisions are not binding, and so we cannot make decisions for her. She does what she wants to do. Why go sit before her then?
So you'd rather go to court?
Because that is what the Constitution says, that anything or any law that we feel that is inconsistent with the Constitution, the best place to seek redress is the court. If I have no legal mandate to advise you, why come and waste my time in advising you?
We've heard the Member of Parliament for Clotte Collins, Senator Rollins, raise issue with the financial burden on MPs. The NPP is also accusing you, the NDC, of busing registrants to the registration centres. Is this true? Are you busing prospective registrants from their various locations to the EC's district offices to partake in the exercise?
Do you know what the NPP is best known for? There is a saying in Akan, there is a bird called the Santrofianoma. It goes to the end of the water, muddies it, and comes back to ask you who went to that side of the pond to muddy the waters. That is exactly what the NPP is doing. We have seen videos of the NPP dishing out money. I heard you ask Evans about giving out money to people, and I heard his answer he gave. We've seen videos of the NPP going into communities and giving out money to people who have not turned 18, people who are not on the register to go and register. Have you seen any video of anybody from the NDC busing people? Let me also say that in every registration process, political parties do get involved. I've seen a video of the leader of what's the name of this man's party? Goom. Going around with a pickup, trying to ferry people from their various locations to the EC headquarters. I come from a town called Kotoje in the Okre constituency. Before the district electoral office is in Ebru. If I have to leave Kotoje to get to Ebru, I need a minimum of 30 Ghana cedis to be able to come and register. There is a town called Achramase in the Okre constituency where the popular car waterfalls is.
Right.
It is beyond Kuforidia for a young person who has turned 18 and is unemployed to get to the center in Ebru, it needs a minimum of 90 Ghana cedis, almost 100 Ghana cedis, to be able to travel from Atremasin to Ebru and back. There is a town called Isuta Epred. For you to be able to travel, I'm talking about my constituency, Doctor constituency.
Right.
For you to be able to travel from Isuta Epred to get to Ebru, a young man who has just turned 18 or a young lady who has just turned 18 and is unemployed needs a minimum of 150 Ghana cedis to travel from Isuta Epred all the way to Ebru to come and register. How many people can afford this in this current dispensation we find ourselves in? We all know how bad the economy is. When we used to do registrations, even in electoral areas, political parties had always gotten involved. People who were contesting for assembly elections had always gotten involved by advocating and going around and urging people to go out and register. At best, I know that is what the NDC is doing, together with our members of parliament. And when you're a member of parliament, or when you're a leader from a community, and your community folks reach out to you that registration is being done in the community very far away from where we are. And so we've mobilized ourselves. Can you help us with transportation? I don't think there is nothing wrong with it. But it is because of the recalcitrant nature of the electoral commissioner. That means the electoral commissioner have done what the constitution requires them to do, have done what the CI that they are using requires them to do, of opening the register or registering people in their various electoral events. I don't believe people would have traveled from far to come and register their names. And then people will not even have the cost to go and put cars in these communities to be able to support people to go and register. We all agree democracy is expensive. But the day we agreed to resort to democracy, we were prepared to fund it. And so I still can't understand why the electoral commissioner will do this and breach the CI that it is supposed to be working. But if you read the CI 96 or so, as amended by CI 126 or so, it states clearly that registration should be done annually. As I speak, in 2021, there was no registration. In 2022, there was no registration. So there is a backlog of 2 years. And then in 2023, you decide to do registration and you decide to limit it. And you decide to limit it to your district offices, knowing how remote and how difficult some of our villages and terrains are. In some communities, because of rainfall, they've even been cut off. And so it's extremely difficult getting people to move from one area or the other to come and register. In all this, I blame our courts. Because it is our courts that must uphold our constitution and our laws. And the courts have refused to give the NDC a date before this registration commences. Because I know for a fact that because of what the law...
But there's a hearing scheduled for October.
Exactly. By that time, the questions have been moved. The registration have been over. That is why I blame the courts. And the courts are doing this deliberately. Because you see, when you deprive people of their rights, in the Fernandez case, registration had ended, but the courts ordered. The days when our courts were courts and people had confidence in them, the court ordered the electoral commissioner to open registration. Because if you read our constitution, the constitution mandates everybody who is 18 years and above and of sound mind to be registered. And so what the EC is doing clearly is to disenfranchise people from registering. And if you understand what politics is, and you're a political researcher, you will know why they've gone that route. They are doing this because it is known, research has proven, that first-time voters are people who likely vote against incumbent government. And so the less people they have on the register, then they can disenfranchise and then the NDP can achieve what they are seeking to achieve. But I can assure them that the NDC as a party will do everything possible to make sure that everybody who is 18 years and above gets the opportunity to register and find his name on the register. We have history to guide us. And let nobody be deceived. Let Jim Mensah nor the court be deceived that they can't take the people for granted. Because it is their right. The same right that guarantees Jim Mensah the office of the Electoral Commission is that same constitution that guarantees every other person who has spent 18 years the right to be registered and be voted and to be given the opportunity to cast his vote in deciding the fate of this country.
Okay, George. Let's leave it here. But thank you so very much for your time this evening.
Thank you.
George Opariado is the NDC's National Youth Organizer. Let's go to the Convention People's Party and speak to the party's General Secretary, Nanaya Jantua. Good evening, madam.
Good evening.
Thank you so very much for joining us here on Eyewitness News. I trust you're well.
Yeah, you're welcome. Yes, I'm well.
Great.
What about you?
I am doing well. It's 4 days out of 21 for the ongoing limited voters registration exercise. What has been your own observation so far?
Thank you very much. I mean, what we have observed is what we spoke about before the registration. The fact that young people and disabled Ghanaians have to commute long distances to go and register in the district office or at the district office of the Electoral Commission. Certainly is not going to be a comfortable situation. And that is why we of the other political parties, CPP, DCPP, LPG, and the others, said that there is a need for the Electoral Commission to rethink their decision, because it is not going to be very feasible to get people to commute, especially where they have to pay a lot of money to go and register in the district office. It is clear that the exercise is not going well. It is clear that it's as if the EC is not even ready in terms of logistical support, because there are instances where machines have broken down and the internet has not been stable, so then they have to register people offline. These are all issues that need to be addressed. That is why there is a need for the EC to even halt the system, the whole process, for us to sit down and talk about how we can make it better for Ghanaians.
If you say they should halt the process for you to sit down, I'm wondering, have you been part of IPAC yourself together with these other parties that you mentioned? Have you been part of IPAC, and did you not have this conversation at the IPAC level?
But have you ever heard we boycotted IPAC? If we boycotted IPAC, I think Ghanaians would know. It's our responsibility as political parties to represent the people of Ghana in our various political parties at IPAC. We have not boycotted IPAC. We are still there for us.
So did you have this conversation? Did you raise these issues at the IPAC level?
Of course, if we didn't raise the issues, why did we do a press conference, and why did we even go to court? We didn't go to court because of self-aggrandizement. We went to court because we wanted the people of Ghana to have a fair deal. Nobody should be disenfranchised because the body that is meant to register voters, they are not ready. And that is why we discussed it. The EC said they will get back to us. And by the time we realized, they have a press conference outlining the timetable for the process. And that is why we resisted, and we did a press conference, wrote to the EC that we want to have a meeting to discuss the situation, to see what the issues are. Is it a question of lack of financing? It's a question of lack of financing. Then the parliament should find money and vote, find money for them. Let the government find money for them. We are even surprised that parliament is quiet. 275 constituencies represented in parliament is Ghana. And the parliament has not been able to call the EC to ask them questions about what is going on and how they are going to deal with it.
But currently the House is on recess.
Yeah, but there are times, are they not having these committee meetings concerning the IGP state?
Which committee was commissioned before going on recess?
It does not matter. There are times that when it is important, necessary to them, they reconvene. They are on recess, but they are able to hold a Conconsa committee and listen to people talking about the IGP. Well, this one affects Ghanaians. It affects us. We vote for governments to be in power. So can they meet at the committee level and find out what is going on for the sake of Ghana? In everything that we do, Ghana is very important. Ghanaians are important. Ghanaians.
Right.
They should never be shortchanged. They should never be made unhappy.
And if dialogue failed at the IPAC level, you wrote to the EC. Next thing you know, the EC has organized a press conference to spell out guidelines or modalities for the exercise. Today, the EC is conducting the exercise. You have joined an application in court. This other meeting you are asking for, to what end? What is your expectation? What do you hope to come out from this meeting?
Our expectation is for the EC to hold the process. Because you see, the EC does not exist without political parties. Granted that today all political parties decide to boycott IPAC, decide that we do not exist, what would be the existence of the EC? It is called an electoral commission. And we exist because of the electoral process. We exist because of the democracy in which we are today, where we vote for a government to be in power. And the EC is the one that supervises and conducts elections on behalf of the people of Ghana. So the EC should learn to talk. The EC should learn to dialogue. And let's find out what are the problems, what are the issues. Because what is happening now is not pleasant. It's not pleasant at all. You have young people, disabled people, and even the issue of the guarantor system. You know, because the parliament has not approved the new CI, they are still using the old CI to conduct this limited registration exercise. If somebody doesn't have a Ghana card, if somebody doesn't have a passport, then it means that the person would be identified only by a guarantor. Then when it happens that somebody gets a guarantor and goes to the district office and cannot register, then over the long distance, they have to go back or find a place to sleep. Very soon, in the next maybe 19, 18 days that is left, you will then realize that you'll be creating the situation of illegal guarantors, in quotes, guru boys, who will be mailing around the district offices to be able to identify people and take money. Because then it becomes expensive to move with your guarantor. These things are not pleasant because the EC themselves are saying that they want to reduce the abuse of the guarantor system. But this one, they are going to let the abuse increase. They are also increasing the monetization of politics because now it beholds on us, the political parties, to bus people to these centers.
Right.
Who pays for it? Who pays for it? We are not engaged in any form of business but doing politics. You don't sell rice. You don't sell oil. We are not in any business.
All right.
It's a politics that we are doing.
All right. Thank you very much. We'll leave it here. Thank you so much for your time and we wish you well. Nanaya Jantua is the General Secretary of the Convention People's Party. You're listening to Eyewitness News on 97.3 Citi FM. My name is Nana Tufo Boateng and I'm here with Hawa Idrusu Mustafa. Still to come, 1 person dead, 3 missing and 15 rescued following a boat disaster at the estuary in Ada. Stay with us. We'll be right back with the details.
Eyewitness News. Be there as it happens.
You know, Papa, see that? And it's rickety car. Hey, Papa! Bobo, so how your engine now? It is half man, half amazing. Thanks to Cause and you can feel better energy. Can't touch this. Charlie, guys, so Sancho's engine just died like that? Yes, so somebody managed to convince him that there is a better engine oil than Quartz. And he switched. Sancho Panza. Now, which engine oil can be better than Quartz? No other, my guy. Quartz with its age-resistant technology, it keeps your engine younger for longer. Now you know. Have you guys seen the new bottle design? It's superb. Quartz 9000 from Total Energies there improves fuel efficiency. Why do you think Mr. Mane and Logoso have taken the Quartz Nation movement World Cup like that? Sorry, Chairman. Quartz. Keep your engine younger for longer.
Ajwapa, what's all this condom business? Oh, I've told her over and over again that she won't get pregnant. And she's still insisting. Oh, isn't she the same person who said we would not have sex till we go out for at least 2 years? For all this time? Oh, and she still can't trust me enough? Ama, when I try to do something small, no, condom this, condom that. So handsome man like me, she probably thinks I have HIV.
Using a condom will protect you and your partner. Condoms are effective for protection against a wide spectrum of STIs and HIV infection. Don't take risks. Use a condom every time. Always come prepared.
This advert is brought to you by the Ghana AIDS Commission.
Hello?
My guy, tonight what's up? What be the agenda?
Bro, we enter town. We go pick level for 1957 bar. Then we go pre-game for Usu. After we fit enter streets, hit Ali bar, then jump for some other side. But not necessarily in order. Last we will take the last show enter club.
More options in order.
You know see, but today be you the bill.
Oh, you don't get problem. As I get Express Pay.
With all your wallets and cards in one place on Express Pay, you get to chill and casa with no worries. Send money, pay bills, and transact effortlessly. Our 24/7 customer care is always available to assist you. Download Express Pay and enjoy life with the option of all options.
Let your voice be heard on Eyewitness News on Facebook at facebook.com/Citi97.3, Twitter at twitter.com/Citi973, and Instagram at instagram.com/Citi973 with the hashtag Eyewitness News.
You're welcome back. Now, the New Patriotic Party (NPP) has expressed its approval of the public apology made by Member of Parliament for Dom Kwabenya, Sarah Adjoa Safo. The NP had faced criticism due to her prolonged absence from Parliament, which led to calls for her seat to be declared vacant. The Deputy General Secretary of the NPP, Haruna Mohammed, stated that her apology is viewed positively and contributes to the party's image.
We have all heard in the media her public apology to some particular personalities, especially to Excellency the President, the Vice President, the Chief of Staff, and majority leadership in Parliament, as well as the National. I think that hearing from what she's saying in the public domain, it is humanly possible that everybody at all, whatever the issue might be, first of all, she's asking for forgiveness. And all of us, before God, will be asking for forgiveness. And I think it's a sign of maturity. She has done something very positive, and the party will work any other move that is going to put the party's image forward. I think it's a very good move, and the National Party at a very opportune time that is given to decide on these particular matters would be. And I think that every human being will be forgiven at first point of calling for forgiveness.
Haruna Mohammed is Deputy General Secretary of the NPP. Now, former Chief Justice Sophia Ekufu has criticized former President John Dramani Mahama's comment against the judiciary, deeming them unnecessary. During a virtual address to the 3rd Annual Lawyers Conference of the NDC, John Mahama accused President Ekufu-Addo of appointing a significant number of judges with NPP affiliations. Reacting to the former president in an interview with Accra-based Asasi Radio, Sophia Ekufu says the remarks are baseless and unfounded.
He's been through the process of appointing other people before. So was it because they were NDC? It always upsets me when you get comments like, oh, this one is NPP judge. This one is NDC judge. And yet you've never seen the person, let's say, on any party's rally platform. And these are some of the unnecessary pressures that are put on the judiciary. What difference will that tag make to me, my career, and my work? I'm already there. You think I'm NDC. At the end of the day, so what? Sometimes it gets to you.
That was a former Chief Justice Sophia Ekufu. The Dekotopon Municipal Assembly has commenced a month-long demolition exercise to remove structures encroaching on the buffer zone of the Peshi Lagoon. This action is part of the Assembly's effort to tackle recurring flooding in communities within the municipality. Solomon Nikoy-Kote, the municipal chief executive, in a media interview stated that the demolition exercise will persist until all houses within the buffer zone of the lagoon are cleared.
It's going to be a month-long demolition exercise, and you can see we are within the Peshi buffer. And people have taken the law into their hands and they are developing the buffer. We've been here several times to warn them. We've written stop structure to be demolished, and they are still continuing. So today we're starting a month-long demolition exercise. I mean, the other time you joined us, we went to the other stretch. I mean, this is not new thing that we're doing. Once in a while we come in here, structures that are coming up within the buffer zone, we demolish them. So a few structures too have come up. So as a municipal assembly, we are here to deliver on our mandates. We are supposed to enforce the law. And per the Act 936, if anyone builds within the right of space, I mean, the assembly has the authority to demolish that structure. So we are here to deliver on our mandate or to enforce the law given to us.
You had a municipal chief executive for Latdade Kotopon, Solomon Nikoi Kote.
Eyewitness News. Be there as it happens.
When shopping for a dress, you say,
of course, the low burst line. A little tight by the hips. Covered sleeves. Off shoulder. Definitely.
But when buying anti-malarial drug, you say,
is it not malaria? Give me whatever is available.
Choose your malaria drugs the same way you choose your dress. Always ask for Coartem. It's also available in cherry-flavored dispersible tablets for children. Don't gamble with malaria. Choose right. Choose Coartem. If symptoms persist after 3 days, consult your doctor. Malaria testing should be done before treatment. This advert is FDA approved.
Yeah, Charlie, so many vibes and I want 10 father, my sanaba. My mini papa and you're not for more fear no more quentum. Trebiania, so a maniscaco fear and fancy than near fear for before Javasi no parking. A bear man Sujai Casa. Thanks to Sukasa, how hard to your nature. Sukasa Sia Dan Brony friend affordable luxury homes, or more 2, 3, 4 bedrooms, where you're fully gated or grants and communities, or more malls, clubhouse, and all social amenities, plus 24-hour security. Almost our flexible payments, and yeah, I know my dear at Dalcasa, plus 100% guaranteed cashback. Yes, 100% guaranteed cashback. No quick finances stories. Contact Sukasa right now through phone calls or WhatsApp on 030-296-0865 and 055-369-7886. Charlie social media so more, baby. You can find them on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, and YouTube at Sukasa GH. Email Susi at info@sukasa.com.gh. Sukasa, building on trust.
Eyewitness News. Be there as it happens.
Get the details. Every significant financial transaction, every market movement, and all the policies that affect your business. City Business News. Be informed.
Time now for City Business News on Eyewitness News, powered by your most comprehensive business news website, citybusinessnews.com. My name is Hawa Idrisu Mustafa. Details of our stories now. Local cement manufacturers have welcomed moves by the government to suspend the issuance of permits for new factories to manufacture and bag Portland cement in the country. The Ministry of Trade and Industry, which gave the directive, said the suspension is until further notice. Reacting to this, the Chamber of Cement Manufacturers Ghana said this is a bold step toward ensuring regulatory standards. Dr. George Dawson Amwa is Executive Secretary of the Chamber.
This has nothing to do with trying to restrict, players into the cement industry. But the real case is to protect the cement industry with its attendant products. And this is what we have been advocating for. There is no regulation that takes the investor through to check really the process, to go through the process with the investor, where this cement factory will be cited, knowing the compliance of the investor in all areas of regulation. There's nothing like this. This actually interim measure is actually paving a way to, perpetualizing it. And I can tell you on authority that we are collaborating with the industry, and that is the Ministry of Trade and Industry. So this interim measure is a stopgap, just until this regulation is actually materialized.
Dr. George Dawson Amwa is Executive Secretary of the Chamber of Cement Manufacturers Ghana. The Importers and Exporters Association of Ghana wants government to, as a matter of urgency, scrap the new veterinary import levy, since it has the propensity to worsen business business activities at the port. The association point out that the decision by the government through the Veterinary Services Department to impose the levy was poorly thought through. The levy, according to the group, is an additional cost on businesses engaged in the importation of frozen food. Samson Asaki Awingobit is the Executive Secretary of the Importers and Exporters Association of Ghana.
Situation to the frozen and the meat importers in the port here. I'm sure you are rightly aware that current cost of doing business in the port is so high, skyrocketing to the extent that everybody that clears their cargo from the port keeps on complaining. Just of this month, we got a wind that the veterinary will come back to the port. And of course, as we do know, as we do appreciate the work that the veterinary will do in terms of meat importation to the country because of anthrax and other diseases that may end up into our country or to affect the Ghanaian population. We agree. However, the charges that the veterinary service department themselves impose is what very worrisome is becoming as a matter of a duty component and not more yet a fee to pay for veterinary to come and perform their services. Completely. I mean, even if government should not scrap it completely, at least it should bring it to a reasonable price. If every is taking 2,000 to perform all these functions I'm telling you, why would veterinary service taking over 4,000 Ghana cedis? So we see to be, if not a revenue generation, there is what? And you have one will have to drive to their office to pay this money, take the receipt before you can refill.
Samson Asaki Awingobit is the Executive Secretary of the Importers and Exporters Association of Ghana. The Bank of Ghana is confident that the recent drop in the inflation rate is putting the country back on the path of disinflation. It attributes the decrease to a raft of robust monetary policies aimed at ensuring price stability. Ghana witnessed for the first time in 5 months a decrease in consumer price index after inflation rate fell by 3% from 43.1% in July to 40% in August. Governor of the Bank of Ghana maintains this is a positive boost to macroeconomic indicators amidst efforts to bring debt to sustainable levels. Dr. Ernest Addison is governor of the Central Bank.
Ghana takes the lead and the precedence in trying to set our debt on a path of sustainability. You would notice that in 2022, we went through an economic crisis. Presently, we are focused on implementing a prudent framework to restore stability and promote inclusive growth. We are quite confident about the outlook. We have had a new reading of inflation. We suggest that we have stayed on the disinflation path with inflation declining by nearly 3 percentage points.
Dr. Ernest Addison is governor of the Bank of Ghana. Meanwhile, economist Dr. Patrick Esumin disagrees. He says despite the recent drop in inflation figures for August 2023, it does not mark a sustained path of disinflation.
So, let's look at what has happened towards the end of last month and this month. I think the last two pricing windows for fuel, we've seen some slight upward ticks in the fuel prices. And then from the beginning of this month, we've obviously seen that utility prices have gone up. So the effect of those will take some time to be felt through the inflation reading. So I will not expect that we are going to continue with a sustained path of disinflation for now. I think that we might see a marginal decline or probably a marginal increase. I don't expect that we will deviate too much from the current number in the next couple of readings.
You heard economist Dr. Patrick Esumin. Now, in a bid to bolster food security and establish resilient food systems, Agriterra, a global specialist in cooperative development, is advocating for increased stakeholder engagement to support smallholder farmers in Africa. With a focus on West Africa, the organization is championing a collaborative approach to enhance agricultural production and ensure a stable food supply. Here is the Agriterra's regional manager for West Africa, Erin Brower.
But if you only produce and the food doesn't come to a market, then basically there is no food security. So what about infrastructure? What about the costs of infrastructure, for example? Then also prices. So the fluctuation of prices. If farmers produce but prices drop, they don't earn enough income. So where is the incentives for farmers, for example, to keep investing in more production, increasing yield? And I think that what it requires, if you want to go to a sustainable food system and food security, is really looking at, okay, so food dependency. There will always be imports, but how can you reduce dependency on inputs and food? How can you stimulate local production or maybe regional production? High quality also, so the perception that the food that is locally produced versus the food that is imported also is a really important component. And then we're also talking about the market, the consumers. And I think government, of course, plays an important role in that to work with all the different stakeholders.
That was Agri-Terrace Regional Manager for West Africa, Erin Brewer. Now, as the City Business Festival draws closer, the defending champions of the CEO Challenge, Ria Minerals, is sending strong signals to other contenders that they will fiercely defend their title. The sporting event is scheduled to take place on September 30 at the Eden Heights Sports Complex at Weija in Accra. We have more in this report.
As the countdown to the 2023 edition of the City Business Festival continues, some participants have expressed their readiness to knock out all competitors, not only to retain their trophies, but also to snatch new ones. The much anticipated and exciting corporate sport event will take place on 30th September at the plush Eden Heights Sports Complex at Weija. Participants will compete in a variety of sports such as seven-a-side football, basketball, sack race, volleyball, tug of war, and arm wrestling. Where Minerals were the first-time competitors in the 2022 edition of the sports competition, and they won 2 trophies, including the coveted CEO's Challenge. They say their game plan this year is to emerge victorious in all the games they take part in. Yom Achu is a logistical coordinator of Ria Minerals, and he's been speaking ahead of the event.
For a company that was participating for the very first time last year and being able to get 2 trophies from the P Hall, I believe that I don't think that this year would be any lesser than we did last year. If anything at all, we are going to win more trophies this year. Yes. So last year we won the video game and we won the CEO Challenge as well. This year we had a little challenge with our organization last year because it was our very first time. So we did not know we had to register here and there. So there were certain competitions that we knew that we could do very well, but we could not partake because we were not able to register for them on time and present our competitors. But this year, knowing what happened last year, we are going to prepare very well for it, and then we'll be there on time. We would present for all the competitions that we have chosen, and then we are very confident that we'll come out tops. Yes, we are going to snatch more trophies. We had 2 last year. We would likely have about 4 or 6 this year.
The City Business Olympic 2023 is powered by City TV with support from Citi FM and proudly sponsored by Lozati Lozenges from Unicorn Chemist and EK Brand Consult.
The report was put together by City News' Shika Caesar. And that's it for City Business News on Eyewitness News, proudly brought to you by your most comprehensive business news website, citybusinessnews.com. My name is Hawa Idrisu Mustafa. Up next is Point Blank.
Let your voice be heard on Eyewitness News on Facebook at facebook.com/City97.3, Twitter at twitter.com/City973, and Instagram at instagram.com/City973 with the hashtag Eyewitness News.
You know, Papa, see that? And it's rickety car. Hey, Papa! Bobo, so how your engine now? It is half man, half amazing. Thanks to Cause and you. Can't feel better energy. Can't touch this. Actually, guys, so Sancho's engine just died like that. Yes, so somebody managed to convince him that there is a better engine oil than Quartz. And he switched. Sancho Panza. Now, which engine oil can be better than Quartz?
No other, my guy. Quartz with its age-resistant technology, it keeps your engine younger for longer.
Now you know. Have you guys seen the new bottle design? It's superb. Quartz 9000 from Total Energies there improves fuel efficiency.
Why do you think Mr. Mane and Logoso have taken the Quartz Nation movement World Cup like that? Sorry.
Quartz. Keep your engine younger for longer.
Technology is shaping the workforce of the future. Are you job market ready? Looking for a career change or want to get into the tech space? The place to start is with ALX. ALX, an Africa Leadership Group initiative in partnership with the MasterCard Foundation, is developing a talent pool within the technology sector. ALX offers courses in software engineering, AWS cloud computing, data analytics, and Salesforce administration. This is an opportunity to learn in-demand skills in a changing job market. ALX provides added value in training programs, mentorships, and networking. Apply now and get started on your dream career. Visit www.alxafrica.com to register before the deadline of 12 September 2023.
It's time for the ultimate corporate sports gathering, the Citi Business Olympics 2023. Get ready to unleash your competitive spirit and showcase your athletic prowess as we bring together the best of the best from the corporate world. From traditional sports like seven-a-side football, basketball, sack race, and volleyball to unique challenges like tug of war and arm wrestling, there's no shortage of excitement and adrenaline pumping action. So gather your colleagues, lace up your sneakers, and get ready to compete in the Citi Business Olympics. It's time to show off your skills, build connections, and have a blast in the ultimate corporate sports extravaganza. To register your company to participate, call 0205 973 973 or 0558 973 973 now. Which company will emerge as champion and which CEO will win the Ultimate CEO's Challenge at the Citi Business Olympics 2023? We'll find out on 30th September 2023. Venue, Eden Heights Sports Complex. Wager, time 8 a.m. The Citi Business Olympics 2023 is powered by Citi TV with support from Citi FM and proudly sponsored by Lozati Lozenges from Unicom Chemist Limited, EK Brand Consult, Blue Jeans Energy Drink, and Hollard Insurance.
Let your voice be heard on Eyewitness News on Facebook at facebook.com/Citi97.3, Twitter at twitter.com/Citi973, and Instagram at instagram.com/Citi973 with the hashtag Eyewitness News.
You're welcome back. Grateful that you stayed on with us. This is Eyewitness News on 97.3 Citi FM. The segment is Point Blank. Now on Thursday, disaster struck in Adan when two separate boats, Shalon and Barcelona, carrying about a total of 19 fishermen, capsized after they were hit by a strong tidal wave. So far, 15 out of the 19 fishermen who were involved in the Adan boat disaster have been rescued alive. One fisherman has been confirmed dead, and 3 others remain unaccounted for. There's the details we have in the Adan boat disaster. Now, we want to get more updates on this, and so we're going to speak to the PRO, Public Relations Officer, for the National Disaster Management Organization, NADMO, in Ada, Ebenezer Dando, who just joined us on the lines. Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
Difficult time for you, but I trust you're doing well.
Oh, yes, by God's grace.
Great. So, per the figures we have, 15 out of the 19 have been rescued. 1 is reported dead. 3 others are still unaccounted for. Can you confirm these figures?
Yes, please. It's the same. 19 were total on board, 15 rescued and healthy and has gone back to their families. 1 confirmed dead this afternoon and 3 still missing. That we are still, NADMO and Ghana Navy, we are still doing search and rescue.
When you say 1 confirmed dead, was he found dead? Is it his body you retrieved from the estuary, or he was alive and died out of complications later?
He was found dead. His body was found dead.
That means his dead body was retrieved from the estuary.
Yes,
right. So this search party that is conducting efforts to locate the remaining 3, who makes up this search party?
NADMO, Ghana Navy, and community rescue team.
And what is the scope of work of this search party? How far out into the sea or the river are you looking to go to find the remaining 3?
The search is still ongoing, and we are believing God to give us the grace to see them. Actually, with the 1 we confirmed dead, the body was even found not within the Adan jurisdiction. It was found at the Volta region. So we are believing to see them. But we have given information to the neighboring communities along the Volta Lake. In case of anything, they should inform us.
But then how far wide out are you looking to go? If you tell us that, this incident we understand happened in Ada, but you're telling us that this particular body was found in the Volta region. And so how far out is the rescue team going?
We are going as far as we can. So we retrieved the remaining 3.
Right. It's 6:44 p.m. It should be dark or getting dark at this point. What duration are you working with then? And are you wrapping it up to continue tomorrow, or you're going to be out at sea throughout the night?
For now, we are wrapping up to continue tomorrow. But as I earlier said, we have been giving information to the other communities along the banks so that in case of any may see something, they should let us know or inform us. Then we will take the necessary arrangements.
What strategies are you employing? Because and this will be based. The answer to this question will give impetus to the one I'm about to ask, which was the dead body found within the waters, or had it been washed ashore? And what strategies are you employing to look for the 3 who are unaccounted for?
That 1 confirmed dead. The body was found within the Volta region, I said, not at the shore, but within under the water. There are divers going down, working out things. Yes.
These divers, are they community members, or these are divers from the Ghana Navy?
Both.
Right, you have both divers from the community and from the Navy.
Yes, please.
Okay, so 3 are unaccounted for, but per your intel, what really accounted for the accident in the first place?
What happened was that they went for fishing. The sea was calm in the evening and they went for fishing. But on their way coming back, getting to the estuary, they met a strong tidal wave that they couldn't stand it.
All right, we'll leave it here, and we wish you well in your search. We pray that these persons are found, hopefully are alive. But thank you so very much, Ebenezer Dando, Public Relations Officer of the National Disaster Management Organization, NADMO, in Ada. Now, my colleague Fred Duho visited the area earlier today. He's joining us. Fred, good evening and thank you very much for your time.
Good evening, Nana.
Right. Paint us a picture of the situation or the atmosphere in Adan when you got there. Obviously, this is one that will shake the community because we understand this adds up to about 6, the number of disasters recorded within the estuary in recent times.
Well, Nana, the atmosphere compared to what happened in March this same year, I would say this one looks a bit quite calm. I use the word calm because the people involved, I understand, are not from this community, or they are not from Adanfoɔ. They are rather from another suburb of Sege, which is Aklabanya. And these people went fishing on Wednesday evening, and on their return on Thursday morning, they met this unfortunate incident at the estuary. And as painted to you by the PRO of the NADMO in the district, 3 people are still at large. They are still conducting some search in the area to see if they can find them. But that may equally prove a bit difficult because there are no lights or visibility is quite poor in that enclave on the sea and even on the river. The very person that actually lost his life through this tragic incident, the body was discovered in the Angogan district of the Volta region. So in a sense, the sea actually washed his body all the way to Huti in the Angogan district, some kilometers away. In my estimation, that should be more than some 25 kilometers from the point of incident. So if these 3 people survive in this whole tragic incident, that should be by some divine grace. Literally, the other 15 people we've tried trying to look for them to speak to them proved a bit difficult. They were devastated. Most of them went back to their homes and where they came from, and none of them were there for us to even speak with, except for the chief fisherman indicating to us that when they came early in the morning to follow up on the latest update of the story, they realized they were all devastated. They joined the search party, but that also proved futile. They took a break later. The search is being conducted by the Navy, and from time to time they give updates, they take a break, and then the search continues again. So the entire town where the incident happened, or where the estuary is located, that particular town is calm. The only thing they did differently was to abandon their fishing expedition today. So none of them went fishing. Only for us to get to the estuary to see that there was this boat that also managed to come from high seas from their fishing expedition, in as much as they were cautioned not to go. We saw, or I personally saw, one boat coming, and the tides rise so high that they actually called or phoned one of their colleagues on land to be at the estuary waiting for them. So what they did was that when they were getting to that particular place and they realized the place is rough, the other ones are on the river waiting and observing keenly to see that those on the sea are able to cross in that manner to the riverside without any incident. So assuming there was an incident, they were basically waiting to jump into the water and then rescue them. But what we realized was that when they realized those on sea managed to join them on the river, they all went back to the community. So the entire community, I can say, is largely peaceful, is very calm. Those who had this incident are not from the community, but one person we can confirm has perished in this whole incident.
Right, Fred. Now, these 15 survivors, reports suggest that they were rescued. Is it that they were found in the waters and were rescued by a search party, or they were able to swim ashore?
They were rescued by search party, but per accounts we received from the community, the very young man who lost his life, he was on the boat with the dad. And we understand that according to what the dad told the people, he saw him swimming when the boat capsized. They were all swimming, trying as much as possible to get to land. But he realized his son was tired along the way. He couldn't swim again. So going back to save him would have equally mean that if he's unable to do so, both of them were going to lose their lives. So he had no option than to take that very painful decision to let go of his son and later for him to be pronounced dead or washed ashore somewhere in the Anglogan district. So the entire thing was more of a rescue exercise. Where the thing happened, you can't really, it will be quite difficult for you. Even widows on land today, seeing the tide rise so high, it was a bit scary, I must put on record. And you can be on land and see the sea as high as though it is above human height. And that is how risky the whole thing looks. So you can be seeing the sea as if it's coming towards you in that high rolling manner. But, the sea equally has its limits. So when it hits the shore, it bounces back. But where the estuary is, when it meets the river, that particular place is so turbulent. It's quite rough. So it is either you save yourself in an attempt to save yourself. If you're not that careful, you may equally get drowned. So the search party did their job by rescuing the 15 who managed to swim along the way, and they called for help. Help went their way, and they were rescued. Those who could not make it, like I mentioned, 4 of them as it stands now, 3 still missing, 1 person died, and the search party says they are going to continue and see if they can find them. But there is a very slim chance that those people may be alive if they are found probably on the 3rd day, either tonight or by tomorrow morning.
Fred, are you able to tell us that if these 2 separate boats were fishing out as a team? We know that the Shalom boat was carrying 11 fishermen, and then the Barcelona boat was carrying 8 men. But were they out on a fishing expedition together as a team, or these are individual fishing teams that had come out to sea?
They were fishing as a team, and the Shalom boat that I saw today that carried the 8 fishermen, you will see a portion broken, indicating to you that they really fought hard to save their lives on that boat. The boat actually capsized. You see a portion of it totally wrecked, and even the rescuers that I spoke with today, they mentioned to us that it was not even easy for them when they saw the incident and they were rushing to their rescue. They would have to also find some means and skills to be able to rescue these people. If not, they may end up also losing their lives. So these were 2 boats going fishing, not as in separate groups, but they were a team actually, and this whole incident happened in this devastating manner.
We've seen the pictures of the boats, and just as you rightly mentioned, the wreckage on there. Does this suggest to you that there was a clash or a crash between the 2 boats as they were hit by the tidal waves? Does this suggest to you that they crashed into each other, for which reason we are seeing this level of wreckage, or it is just the strength of the waves that has been able to break into the boats in this manner?
Nana, under certain circumstances, if a boat would drown, I may not have the right expertise in this field to probably give a vivid explanation as to, and I've not also personally encountered any such dangers. I mean, it will never happen though. But
understandably so, yes.
This kind of things, if the water enters your boat and you are beginning to drown, I think the very safe thing for them to do is to hold firm to the wood, so that as much as they hold firm to the wood and screaming for help, some help may come from ashore and come to their aid in time. But we are not talking about just the normal Volta River where you see the water being calm. Even the Volta River itself, sometimes it gets rough. And we are not talking about the sea where you go on high seas and sometimes it goes rough and then becomes calm. We are talking about the river and the sea meeting at a point, being the estuary. So this is more like a turning turbine, if that is right. The sea is turning at this point, and that or beneath it, according to the fisher folks or those who have experienced this before, when you go under the water, the roughness even gets much stronger than what you see on the surface. So the water is turning beneath. So I understand that when these things of this nature happen, your very best savior would be for you to hold firm, very firm to the wood. But the wreckage we see today, or the wreckage I personally saw when I went to the community, it tells me that to some large extent, either there was a crash somewhere because there is a portion of it that is broken. As to whether it went deep under the water and then got broken, that I can't tell. But from the look of things, that level of wreckage can only be caused by something hitting the boat for it to break to that extent. So they've been able to rescue or found the Shalom boat, which had 8 men on board.
Right.
But that of the Barcelona boat, we understand, is gone as far as the Volta region, and they are yet to bring it back to Ada.
Okay.
If a body can also be uncovered at or in the Volta region, specifically Vuti, that should tell you the level of wave or the density of the wave or the tide we are talking about. And I understand the person who even lost his life, he got stuck in one of the sea defense stones or the rocks that is normally used to build the sea defense wall. The head was actually stuck in it. So it took other fisher folks over there to see the person, and then they were able to bring the body to shore.
All right. Thank you very much. Grateful for your time and the updates. Fred Duho, my colleague in the Citi Newsroom, bringing us updates from Ada, where that boat incident was recorded. As it stands now, 1 person confirmed dead, 3 persons still unaccounted for. But fortunately, some 15 have been rescued and are alive and well. This is how we end the show today. This has been Eyewitness News on 97.3 Citi FM. My name is Nanatufo Boateng. I was here with Hawa Idrisu Mustafa. Show produced by Samiri Afe, Kobna Wilson, and Bevlin London. Technical support from Daniel Squashi. When we leave, next is the most riveting sports show ever on radio, Sports Panorama, right here on 97.3 Citi FM. Many thanks for your time. Have a good evening.